Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Today, we're diving into one of the most difficult and emotional chapters currently unfolding within the British royal family, a situation that has reportedly left King Charles III under immense pressure as he continues his personal battle with cancer. The latest controversy surrounding Prince Andrew and his long shadow from the Jeffrey Epstein scandal has once again shaken the monarchy, creating what insiders describe as a crushing strain on the king's health and morale. Over the past year, King Charles has faced the enormous challenge of balancing his royal duties with ongoing medical treatment following his cancer diagnosis. Now, as fresh reports and troubling reminders of Andrew's ties to Epstein resurface, including newly leaked emails involving Andrew and his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, palace insiders say the emotional toll on the king has been overwhelming. One royal source shared, "The king is utterly worn down by it. Just when he thinks the matter has settled, another revelation surfaces. It's placing enormous strain on him. He's doing his best to focus on his recovery and royal work, but the constant stress is really affecting his health." Privately, the king has reportedly admitted to those closest to him that the continuing scandals within his family feel like they could destroy him if they carry on. It's a devastating confession from a monarch who has spent his entire life preparing for this role, only to find his reign consumed by crisis and controversy, rather than stability and unity. During a recent public engagement in Staffordshire on October 27, King Charles appeared visibly tired, but determined to fulfill his royal duties. While greeting crowds outside Lichfield Cathedral, the atmosphere briefly turned tense when a bystander shouted questions about Prince Andrew. The king, maintaining his composure, chose to ignore the remarks and continue greeting well-wishers. But the disruption left onlookers uncomfortable. Members of the crowd quickly defended the monarch, telling the heckler to shut up and stop, with one person even exclaiming, "Now look what you've done," as security guided Charles away. Behind the palace walls, tensions continue to mount regarding Prince Andrew's living situation. Reports suggest that the Duke of York may soon be forced to vacate his long-time home, the Royal Lodge, a Crown Estate property he has occupied for over 2 decades. However, Andrew is said to be resisting the move unless certain conditions are met, with insiders describing his stance as both defiant and desperate. Despite the tension, the Duke has reportedly reassured his brother that he will not follow in Prince Harry's footsteps by writing a bombshell memoir. "Andrew won't write a book like Spare," a royal insider claimed. "He has promised the king." Meanwhile, Sarah Ferguson, who continues to maintain a complicated but close relationship with Andrew, has reportedly been approached with multiple offers to write new books. However, sources say she is focused primarily on her health and family life, particularly her role as a grandmother. Still, those close to her admit that any book she writes would inevitably include aspects of Andrew's story. Within the royal household, Princess Anne and Prince Edward are said to be among the most concerned family members, not only about Andrew's well-being, but also about the effect this ongoing turmoil is having on their brother, the king. They have reportedly urged those around Charles to help reduce his stress and shield him from unnecessary drama as he continues his recovery. There is mounting pressure to remove the Duke from the Grade 2 listed house in Berkshire's Windsor Great Park. But what are his rights? Andrew cannot be easily forced out of the property due to what has been called a cast-iron lease with the Crown Estate. Should he agree to give up the lease early, he could reportedly be entitled to compensation of around £557,000, £595 upon termination, plus yearly payments until 2028. Sharing his insight on the matter, Elliot Castle, CEO of We Buy Any Home, explained, "From a property law standpoint, Prince Andrew's situation at the Royal Lodge appears to be governed by a long-term lease agreement rather than a traditional rental arrangement. If, as reported, the lease terms were set out in 2003 with a significant upfront payment and refurbishment investment, then he would retain security of tenure under those agreed conditions. The reference to a peppercorn rent is symbolic, a common feature in long leases where the tenant has paid a large premium up front. In simple terms, it means the occupier has effectively bought long-term rights to the property, even though the freehold remains with the Crown estate." The property expert went on to discuss whether King Charles could influence the decision to remove Andrew. Whether King Charles could alter or terminate that arrangement would depend entirely on the legal structure of the lease. Unless there's a specific clause allowing for termination under certain conditions, it would be very difficult to remove a tenant without agreement or compensation, regardless of personal circumstances. Prince Andrew has continued to live at the property with his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, whom he divorced after 10 years of marriage in 1996. Her residency would likely be linked to Prince Andrew's leasehold rights rather than any separate ownership. If the lease continues, her position would generally remain unchanged. He was also required to pay a further £7.5 million for refurbishments completed in 2005, according to a report by the National Audit Office. The agreement also contains a clause that states the Crown Estate would have to pay Andrew around £558,000 if he gave up the lease. There have been claims that the Prince's peppercorn rent on the Crown Estate property in Windsor Great Park was concealed in a redacted version of his lease submitted to the Land Registry more than 20 years ago. Obstacles to reaching a settlement with the King are reportedly where Andrew, eighth in line to the throne, will live and what financial recompense he will receive for the funds he spent renovating the home. There are likely properties on the King's private Balmoral estate in Scotland and his Sandringham estate in Norfolk that could house Andrew, but whether he will accept a smaller home far from his supportive daughters remains to be seen. He has also been offered an Arabian palace in Abu Dhabi by the UAE's royal family. As public outrage over Prince Andrew's past and his future in the royal fold continues to grow, King Charles faces the nearly impossible task of preserving the dignity of the crown while managing his own health and emotional endurance. It is, without doubt, one of the most challenging periods of his reign, and one that raises serious questions about the future stability of the modern monarchy. If you'd like to stay updated on this developing story and other royal family news, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on the British royals' most dramatic moments.